Acuérdate que esto estamos en inglés, so.
What's up, everybody? We are live for all our
Animashita.
175 fans that are gonna tune in a couple of seconds while I eat Cheetos.
What you eat chetos.
Hey,
Los chetos. Los chetos en Puerto
podcasting is hard.
Chetos in Puerto Rico are in Spanish or in English? How are they?
Cheetos are in English, in
Oh,
Spanishified English.
Ah.
But the Cheetos that matter today are UFCitos.
UFCitos. There's two Cheetos. Los Cheetos that matter today.
Dr. Jared Vazquez here. Young Ali right there.
That would be me.
And we have Danny M right there.
Oh, you betcha.
And we are going to talk about UFC 286. There's a lot to talk about. We are excited to talk about all the medical stuff that we can associate it to UFC 286 and talk about everybody. What everybody wants to see is that if Kamaru Usman can come back from his, his crazy situation and being, knocked out by Leon Edwards, can he come back from all this stuff? That's the big question in everybody's mind. Look, oh, Danny M, looking good, both of you. Thank you. Whoa. It's an upgrade in camera. It makes us look.
Oh shit!
I think I look more youthful.
You had to say it, didn't you? Well, guys, just so you know, Yared, it's finally
new camera, baby.
Chipped out some cheddar. He's drove himself all over to fucking Best Buy and bought a state-of-the-art camera that he's using tonight. So that's why you can see him in bright colors. That's where you can see his Puerto Rico-ness all over that shot in
my brownness,
your BIPOC-ness.
Oh, Ivan Pishugin.
Oh, damn!
The favorite Russian of the channel. Welcome.
The favorite Russo. Grande Ivan. So yeah, that's why Yared is popping
on this. Yeah, we'll have you in a little bit, Ivan.
Holy shit, Ivan wants to
jump in right away.
Bulldoze through the through the live. Grande. So yeah. Excellent, awesome, exciting.
Everybody's mind.
A little dark, a little no pun intended. Quite unique of a quite a unique card we have this coming Saturday.
Yeah, and the important thing is that we have what this theme is very important. Whenever you have a dominant champion, you want to see him come back from a defeat. Sure. There's champions that haven't come back from defeat. Cody Garbrandt, to mention, someone that sticks out like a sore thumb. Cody Garbrandt was a champion. He wasn't able to defend the belt. He wasn't able to mount a legacy as a champion, and he just went downhill.
That's right.
After being knocked out, after being thrashed.
Yeah.
So people want to see, can Kamaru Usman come back? What are your thoughts in this? I have a medical theme that ties in with this stuff.
Ooh.
You want to hear that, or you want to talk about your opinion?
Yeah, I don't know. You asked me a question, and you wanna
answer it.
Spit out a spiel. So you tell me, brother. I'm here for you. No, I definitely want to hear your take on Marty, as he's known in down south in Florida by some folk of Caucasian looking. Caucasian look. No, but so the truth is that Kamaru Usman has got perhaps his last, but definitely, if not the biggest, one of the biggest challenges in his career, which is a mandatory comeback that make us believe that what happened, 7-8 months, no, it's been almost a year ago, was just an awful bad night. It was just an error, a miscalculation, and that high kick that put him to sleep like never ever before in his career was just an accident. That's what he has on the stakes here. And the truth is that I personally believe he can just do that. I think he's showed, except for that fight, he showed on and on how he Did you
Yeah,
check
Ivan,
the chat?
just mention it in the chat. We'll have you in a couple of minutes. Jump
Yeah.
in
So yeah,
as a guest here.
sure,
Yeah,
sure, sure.
directly
Uh,
from Russia, from
Directly from Russia, Mother Russia.
St.
So
Petersburg, Russia.
oh shit, he's from St. Petersburg. He said very beautiful
I'm just
ladies in St.
guessing.
Petersburg. I've heard.
I've heard.
I don't even know what I was saying between Jared and Ivan. Whatever. The point is that Kamaru Usman, up to that kick, had an impeccable, wonderful career, kind of like plowing through everyone like it's
Mhm.
nobody's business, being put on the spot a couple of times with Colby Covington and with Durinho, and definitely coming out on top strongly, dominantly. And that high kick kind of put everything with a big question mark on top. And I personally believe that Kamaru can pull it off. That Kamaru still has a few fights in him, that he's ultra uber motivated to make this the to make this like the I told you so, the you
Yeah.
doubted me, here here is my here's my genitalia for you all to suck on. And he's definitely gonna go guns a blazing, and he's gonna try to finish Leon Edwards. I think we're gonna see him, hopefully, smart like always, but a little bit more aggressive. And I think
Mhm.
he's got the means to get the W. Got it? That's what my opinion is. Now, psychologically, this is something I want you to tell us a little bit more about, because again, he had never been defeated in this fashion before. Certainly never knocked out. I think he has only like 2 losses early on, and not even in the UFC, if I recall right, of my memory. So we'll see if that affects him. Also, Father Time doesn't forgive anyone, right? And Kamaru, it's getting up there. Kamaru, it's been said on nauseam that he has, the knees of an 80-something-year-old man, that he cannot go down the stairs, that he has to walk on the grass when he has the choice because his knees hurt just by walking on the concrete. So he is definitely compromised physically. How is that going to play a role? It's been a year. He had time to recover. There is another medical question for you as well, Jared. Is he gonna be
Mhm.
just fine after being knocked out cold like that? Is his chin gonna suffer, and therefore he's gonna be more vulnerable to strong hard strikes? Another cue there to answer for Kamaru. So it's a lot, and it's a lot related to the medical field. So Jared, please debrief us. How do you see from your certified doctor standpoint, the uh, odds, the take, the upcoming fight with Kamaru, from the side of Kamaru, let's say?
Yeah, I think whenever we talk about a fighter that's been defeated in a explosive fashion, like Kamaru Usman was defeated with a blowout knockout, completely lost his consciousness, was you know out cold. You have to see it from the point of view. You can't see it as a sport, as a athletic fan, as a athlete, as a fan. You have to see it from the clinical point of view. This is a traumatic event that happened on Kamaru's life. Athletes are prepared for this stuff. It's not
Mm-hmm.
the first time Kamaru Usman loses. He had a great streak, but he had lost before. I believe it was by submission, or
He lost once in CFA against Jose Cáceres. Is this Jose Cáceres the one that made it to the UFC? Not sure. But anyway, he's got only one loss in 2013 in the CFA promotion in Coral
Mhm.
Gables, Florida. In Florida, Jared.
Yeah, and he had a
So,
loss that doesn't show on his record. That was against
oh,
Hayder Hassan
okay.
in UFC. The Ultimate Fighter had a team versus team, like a Blackzilian
Oh,
versus ATT or something like that.
I'm seeing that. Yep. The
And
Ultimate Fighter
he,
21 finale in 2015. He faced Hayden Hassan, won the bout via submission in the second round, thus winning a
yeah,
six-figure contract. No. Well, here says that Kamar won, though.
hmm. No. When he faced him again, but at the beginning of the show, he did fight Hassan and lost.
In one of those that are not like the like the televised ones or something, or what is?
Yeah,
Okay,
the weekly. Kamaru had a second chance to fight, and then he was able to defeat Hassan. But he had that loss.
okay.
And back in that day, they didn't keep the records of those fights because they were exhibition fights because it was 2 rounds. It
Hmm.
wasn't a three
Was
fight
mostly for
three
the
fight
show.
round.
Oh,
It's different for the show. So you had Kamaru. Kamaru had his win streak, his legendary win streak snapped by Leon Edwards in the very, very last minute of the very last
had it.
round.
48
That is
seconds.
that's
A
considered a
win he
traumatic
had
event.
lost.
Hmm.
Lost, because let's not forget, because we're talking here a lot about Kamaru, but let's see what actual Leon's got, right? Because we saw him on a pretty strong first round that it was his. Let's be honest about it. But then Kamaru pretty much, you know,
Dominated.
ran through him in the other rounds
Hmm.
up to the 48 seconds left or whatever, 50 seconds left of the fifth. So
Hmm.
let's see what Leon brings also. And I'm sure he wants to show that it wasn't just a happy accident. But anyway, back to Kamaru and all the things that are playing a role in his
Yeah.
physical, medical,
Yeah.
overall condition.
Yeah, and like I always say, this is the clip. Kamaru Usman got knocked out in the last minute of the last round of the championship fight against Leon Edward. That, when you see it from the sports point of view, it's a great play, a great move by Leon Edwards. But when you
Yep.
see it from a psychological standpoint, it is a traumatic event. And traumatic events can cause changes in your behaviors and in your yield, in your athletic yield. There's a condition that has 4 letters. It's PTSD, post
Mm.
traumatic stress disorder. Now, PTSD is a syndrome that causes nightmares, that causes you to relive events, traumatic events. Now, when you're faced with a challenge like that in your life, your body, your primal self has the capacity to create a
Okay.
reaction, a physical reaction to when you're close a stimulus that's similar to the previous trauma.
Damn.
Now,
Okay.
if you're in a car crash, if you're in a car crash, that's bad. You survived it, but you saw some terrible stuff and you were very, you were very hurt. It's a very
True.
traumatic injury. Fast forward a couple months later, you get on the car and get on the interstate. You're gonna get cold, shivers. You're gonna get an anxiety attack. You have to pull over. You can't do this. You feel stressful. You feel flashbacks coming. That's the part of PTSD that's in it making you unable to do what was similar to the trauma. Now, does
Mm.
Kamaru have that with his last loss? I mean, most fighters don't, but that's the good question to ask here. Were you exposed to this traumatic event with Leon Edwards? Are you going to be okay? Are you fully recovered? Did you train your brain? Did you go to through performance therapy with your sports psychologist to prepare you
Oh.
to face a guy that put you down? And I believe this is a tie-in. I believe that Adesanya hasn't addressed what happened with him, with Poatan, with Alex Pereira, that he
Mm-hmm.
has had 2 consecutive losses, and this is shaking him to the core. So this is something that has to be addressed. And this is the big question for me as a clinical physician, as that little box down there in the video says, from a licensed physician from YouTube down here in the
He love that
description.
shit. He
I have
loves
to
that
say it
shit.
because there's
He
always people
loves
that
it.
say, people always
Okay.
say, "Oh, you're not a real doctor." It's like, hey,
Who the fuck says that though? So
there's
who
some
says that?
people
Who
in the
who
comments
dares?
sometimes.
Who
Some
dares?
people
Yeah.
say it.
God
Some people,
damn it.
not these guys here in the chat. We love them.
Ugh.
But that's the question for me. That's the question to ask. Did Kamaru Usman take the time to prepare psychologically and mentally for this fight? I think with Trevor Whitman being his coach, I think that he did. So I'm looking at, and I'll give you my prediction. I'm looking to see a Kamaru Usman that's more lethal and more effective that we have seen him in the past 2-3 fights, and he has been pretty gosh darn almost perfect on his fights, except for that, that slip and that receiving of that kick. And I think he closes the trilogy with Leon Edwards in an emphatic fashion and finishes Leon
Mm.
Edwards on the
Whoa.
ground before
Oof.
the third round. That's my prediction. He's going to be really incisive. And we got to remember, this is not the second fight. This is the third time
It is the
that
third
they
time.
fight.
Yep.
So Leon Edwards, it's 1-1. And I think it ends at home turf and home territory in, in the UK for Leon Edwards, and I think that it's too much pressure for Leon, and Kamaru comes prepared, like only Trevor Whitman can guide him to. And
This is
he
mhm.
makes a very emphatic, but it's a good question to have, I think we'll see. I think we have a couple comments here. Rocky Angel says, I think Usman will take more of a conservative approach for the
Hmm.
first round or two, and then he will pressure Edwards and test his cardio. Possible championship rounds finish. I like the decision for Usman. I could see it happen. Okay. Oh, Ivan DM me on Twitter. Ivan, I'm going to send you the link in a little bit here. Jacob Waddle said, need to see Leon show some overall improvements outside of his
Oh,
striking in
buena.
his fight.
Good, Jacob.
Yeah.
That's right. Jacob is on the money. That's true. It's true because let's not forget also Leon Edwards. It's definitely a fighter that one wouldn't bet one's house on him. We saw him um, light on fire. Nate Diaz for the first few rounds and ending with an almost knockdown. Remember on that last round when Nate Diaz tagged him, when he seemed
Mm-hmm.
to lose interest, he kind of drifts off at times, and
Yeah.
that's something that maybe could happen. I mean, he's fighting home. He's fighting as the current champion. He's got everything on his corner, but it's the first time he's done that. So pressure can be a big factor in his
Yeah.
performance, right? He
This
might
is this
feel,
is a great
those
this is a
knees
great
shaking.
comment.
Yep.
This
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
a
indeed.
great comment. Can
Jacob
he
hit
repeat
the
that?
spot.
Can he
Well,
repeat
no,
that greatness that
he needs to
you know?
improve it because let's be honest, Kamaru now knows that his leg kicks are dangerous. So he's gonna be well prepared. Like whomever was saying about Rocky and Angel, he was saying that he's gonna be more cautious. He certainly is gonna be more cautious with the leg kicks. He's certainly gonna work the angles in a different fashion so he doesn't get himself exposed to a clean high kick like he did on that 48-second of the 5th round in the previous fight in August last year. So I mean, with everything, with all the data, with all the data that we got, it looks like Kamaru's got everything one could think of to really make it happen. To really kind of like also, yeah, this is something kind of that has been
Mhm.
said a little bit, but not so much. This is Trevor Whitman's sort of like um chance to get his reputation a little bit back, because
Mhm.
let's not
Yeah.
forget also Justin Gaethje's fighting there. Also, Justin Gaethje
Lost.
has had a loss in his record. Rose Namajunas has disappeared from the face of the earth, so that's golden his three golden fighters, the three fighters that probably made him be, when was it, 1-2 years ago, coach of the year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Trevor Whitman's definitely needed. What happens if Kamaru doesn't, win tonight and Saturday night, and Justin Gaethje doesn't win also in London? Maybe his reputation will suffer from that, and it'll be one of those cases that you masterfully mentioned. I think it was in the previous live or the live before that, of gyms have their eras, gyms have their primes, and they go up and down, and maybe Trevor Whitman's wizard ability to train fighters and make them, boxers, real talented, real skillful boxers, maybe it's coming to an end. And Kamaru and Gaethje can just show that on Saturday. So we'll see what happens, but it's definitely a big, 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 big
Mhm.
important night for Trevor Whitman as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have here a gangster from
Oh shit! Oh shit! You
from
gave it.
we have
Okay, let's see.
the
Let's see.
one and only Ivan Pishugin,
Ivan
from
Pichugin.
Russia. We
Let's
have
go.
this is a show that's
Moscow.
international. If you're here, if you're a
That's
fan, you
that's
want to
goddamn
jump
right.
in and
Better have
give
an
your
accent.
take.
You better have an accent, Ivan.
And
Right
here we
away. Can you
go.
hear me, boys?
Oh
I
Can
can
you hear
hear
shit!
me,
you.
boys?
There you go. Wow, rocking the stash. Nice.
Yes.
Ah, oh, my
Yes.
man, my man. Recognize the real. So, first of all, you can hear me well, right?
Yes.
We
Yeah.
can
I
we can
may
hear
or
you.
may not look like shit, but I'll tell you what, when it comes to this fight that we're discussing, first and foremost, we always got to recognize Kamaru Usman's bad, bad knees, right?
We just mentioned it a bit ago. That's right. Yep.
Right? You talked about it before. So when it comes to bad knees, we always got to recognize Leon Edwards is not bad with leg kicks, right? That's how he set up the high kick. That's how he set up
Mm-hmm.
the high kick. He went to the knees, he went to the body, he went to the knees, and then he went up high, right? So that's one thing that we got to mention. Second thing that we got to mention is that Leon Edwards now knows that he can beat Kamaru Usman. He knows he can beat him in grappling. He showed that in the first round. Then he got discouraged. Yes, that happens. That happens to anybody. But then he got him at the end. So he has much more confidence, right? And he's going to be in London. That's one thing that you didn't, I don't think you mentioned, right? He's going to be in London. He's going to be in his pretty much home crowd, right?
Yeah.
So he's going to be supported. He's going to be full of confidence, which he wasn't before, I don't think. And
Yeah,
so
I think you're
that
right. Yeah.
that's another thing that we got to look at the fight. And the third thing that we got to look at the fight is that in the first fight that they fought, it wasn't that one-sided. It was relatively close. Leon was doing pretty good, and Kamaru in his latest fights really showed some deficiencies in the striking, specifically striking defense against Colby, against what's his face, Puta Masvidal,
Mm.
against even against Gilbert Burns. He showed deficiencies in the striking, specifically striking defense, and I think that Leon Edwards can capitalize on that specifically because he has the home crowd advantage and because he has so much more confidence now. I think that's a really big thing for this fight because that's the only thing that changes. That finish, I don't think, and I don't think anybody that is a sensible MMA fan should think that this knockout should diminish Kamaru Usman. It doesn't. It really doesn't. It's one knockout. Yes, it can change a fighter. Yes, it can make him more tentative, but that's not a thing that happens often. That's a thing that happens then now and again. It's just a thing that happens, and I don't think that's going to happen to Kamaru Usman because um, he's such a single-minded individual. He's so
He's a solid
single-minded on his
athlete.
goal. Yes, yes, he has a very strong mind, and I don't think that a knockout will change that. I think that the preparation will change that for Leon Edwards. I think that Leon Edwards should take this challenge even more seriously than he did before. And I don't think that Trevor Woodman is going to change anything in Kamaru Usman's game plan, really. Because Trevor Woodman, as we know, is a
A great
solid
coach.
boxing coach.
Mm-hmm.
He's overall he's a good coach. I'm not gonna say he's a great coach. He's not Eugene Behrman. He's not John Crouch. He's not you know he's not one of those guys. But he's a solid boxing coach. He teaches solid boxing fundamentals, and Kamaru Usman doesn't need that at this point. What Kamaru Usman needs at this point is uh, what do you think, Yared? What does he need to beat?
I
Did
think.
did I pronounce your name right? Yared,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You pronounce it right. I
Yeah.
think that
Thank you.
Kamaru, it's a psychological preparation for a fight is crucial when you go through
Right.
a traumatic event like that. It's not going to change him, neurologically. His brain is not going to be affected greatly by this
Yeah. Yeah.
knockout.
For sure.
So sometimes that might happen, but I think Kamaru is a wrestler, and wrestlers go through so much trauma just in training, not the hundreds
Yeah.
and
For
hundreds
sure.
of wrestling meets and fights and all that stuff. So I think his body is solid, and he took that knockout pretty well, and he's shown on social media. You mentioned something that's really important and that we did see on affect him in his previous performances and displacing in the ring, and it's his knee joint. Of course, he has a bad knee,
Yep.
and what you're seeing here in the
Yeah,
screen,
guys, I'm back.
a 3D,
Oh, damn.
you're seeing here a 3D model of the knee. This white stuff that you guys are seeing here in between, that is the ligament. This these strings here are the ligaments, and this is the soft part of the knee, the joint surface itself. And this is where he has problems. He has problems with severe arthritis.
Can you pinpoint
Arthros.
the ligaments that are like ACL, LCL, and
Mm-hmm,
MCL? I
mm-hmm,
believe the
mm-hmm.
crucial ones.
Yeah, you have here the lateral collateral ligament, you have the medial collateral ligament, and you have the PC, the posterior ligament here, and the anterior ligament, the PCL and the ACL. Plus you have
Mhm.
the patella tendon here, you have the patella,
Yep.
and you have the surface here of the joint, that white stripe that you see there. So he's having a lot of problems. It's an older Kamaru, so we're definitely gonna see how Kamaru looks. How many months was the fight ago?
It
How
was
many
it
months
was
ago was the
August
fight?
20th, so it's been like 8
About
months.
8.
8 months.
Yeah.
So it's 8 months. In
I don't know,
in the
guys.
scheme of thing, in the great
Mhm.
scheme of things, is not that much. In the scheme of an athlete who's how old is Kamaru?
35.
35.
Hmm. Yep.
That is
It'll be
significant.
36 on May
I
11th.
think that's significant,
That's
especially
significant.
for somebody who wrestled his whole life.
Well, the truth is that it seems pretty clear that when he went looking for Trevor Whitman, he came as a true MMA fighter, standing on the ground and all that. It's mostly because probably his
That's the
wrestling
thing. I
was
wouldn't
already.
agree with that because I think that he came in to Trevor Woodman as a really good wrestler and a really
That's right.
good MMA grappler,
That's right.
but he didn't come into him as an MMA fighter, and then Trevor Woodman made him into more of an MMA fighter by
No.
developing some
Yeah,
very
I make
strict fundamentals, right?
No. I'm agreeing with you, Ivan. What I'm saying is that he needed. I feel like, of course, he wanted to improve and be a more complete MMA fighter. He was already an MMA fighter for sure.
Yep.
In fact, that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Like, the extra reason, or perhaps as important as becoming a more well-rounded MMA fighter, as a reason, was that his knees were starting to suffer, and maybe that wrestling, that Joker card that he had in his back pocket, was no longer maybe as easy to be used because of the
Somewhat.
deterioration of his knees.
I'd say somewhat because that's the thing is like one thing that you see with Kamaru is that he doesn't wrestle people, he doesn't throw open shots, he doesn't do
He doesn't.
big single legs, big double legs because he literally cannot. He can't
Perfect.
do it.
My point precisely.
He
There,
doesn't have the
you
knees to
nailed it,
do
Ivan.
that.
That's right, and it's
Yup.
probably because of
And
the
so
state of his knees. We can one only
exactly.
can
And
assume.
so Yup, and so exactly that's why he wrestles people against the cage. That's why he couldn't. The one I believe the one takedown that he
With
got on
Masvidal.
Jorge Masvidal.
Yep.
Yup, on Puta Masvidal in their first fight is off of a caught
Whoa,
kick.
whoa, whoa,
I'm
whoa,
gonna
whoa, whoa,
continue.
whoa! Hey, what's happening
I'm
here?
gonna continue. I'm gonna continue to call him Puta Masvidal because
Whoa, whoa,
I
whoa!
hate the
Why?
guy.
Hold on. We love Masvidal here. Explain,
Oh,
Ivan.
right. Oh,
What is this hate?
you want to
What
get
is this
into that?
hate?
Oh, you want to get into that?
We
Okay.
want to hear your
If you
take
want to get
now.
into that, okay, no problem. Because I don't know how much time we got. But
Whatever.
if I go from the start, I became an MMA fan in right about mid 2018, right? And
Ooh,
so I saw the rise of Jorge Masvidal when he became into a big superstar, when he got
me too.
Ben
Yeah.
Askren, when he got Darren Till, and so on and so forth. I saw the guy, and I saw what he stood for, and I saw what he was before. He was before a really good technician, a pretty good boxer, pretty good kickboxer, even
Kickbox
with
indeed. Yeah.
solid takedown
Mhm.
defense, solid takedown defense that was established by American Top Team.
Mhm.
And from that on, when he became a superstar, he developed this swagger. This swagger.
Mm.
He got it on. He became the Scarface looking motherfucker. And he thought way too big of himself, I think.
He got that
He
beard
does
when he started
not
rocking the
deserve to be.
beard, the long hair. I think it all came with the beard and
He
long hair.
started asking for the Conor McGregor fight, which is one of the lowest things that a fighter can do. He started asking for the Conor McGregor fight.
But
Chandler can do that. Chandler
but
can do that. I accept that with Chandler because he's an entertaining fighter. He kind of likes entertaining fighters, and the guy said, "Go on." that that's the thing with Jorge. With Jorge, the problem is he became way too big for his shoes, and he does not, and he did not belong in the top 15 because he never fought
Whoa,
somebody
hot
like a
take.
Vicente. Yup, that's what I think because he
Shit.
got a big win over Darren
That's a
Till,
Russian
who was
take. That's
way
a
too
that's a
big.
Moscow take.
No, no, no,
Moscow
no,
take.
no, not in any way, shape, or form. That's my own take because
That's the
Ivan,
many
Pishugin
Russian
take.
people they love Jorge Mex.
I call that PT.
Very, yeah, pretty much because many Russian people love Jorge Masvidal. That's not
Mm,
me because I think that the guy is overrated for his own shoes because
mm.
he got two very big wins off of two people that could talk really well. And that's the thing. We very much underestimate how much talking gets you into mixed martial arts stardom.
Well,
And that's where Jorge
uh,
got.
Ivan, you have to give the guy though. Like what you're saying makes total sense. Definitely the whole Street Jesus, Scarface, amping up the whole 305 Miami persona may have done a
Right?
disfavor to him in the the fans that truly love just the sport and not these characters they all
Right.
love to create. The Colby Covingtons, the
Right.
McGregors, these people that are into selling more, the Sugar Sean O'Malley's that are more into selling almost as much into selling as into fighting. But you are kind of like uh circling smartly around the fucking Ben Askren fastest cow in the history of the sport. That
That's
definitely that
that
put
does
him
not
up
matter.
there. Well, no, we're
That does
talking about
not matter for
for
shit.
the overall, but for the overall, you're saying no. He got his, he got in his head and he got this persona way too high. But
Right. Right.
that stuff, definitely. How do you not become a little bit cocky after that happening? After so much trash talking from
I'm
Ben
gonna tell you
Askren?
how. I'm
Okay,
gonna
being
tell you how.
humble, being Khabib about it. Okay, being there,
No, no,
alhamdulillah.
no,
Yes,
no. Not
okay,
quite.
but
Not
not
quite.
everyone is the same.
So there's a guy. So there's a guy that I'm not gonna say idolize that guy, but I think he's my favorite mixed martial artist right now.
Valid.
So there's this guy called Alexander the Great Volkanovski, right?
A
Okay,
savage.
okay.
So there's this guy that
Mhm.
goes onto this crazy win streak, and he beats Chad Mendes by knockout, and he beats
Shit.
Jose Aldo, and he beats Max Holloway, and then he
Everyone.
beats Max Holloway, and then he beats Max Holloway, and so on and so forth. But the most important thing about the guy, when he beat Korean Zombie, do you remember that fight? After
That
the
was
I
hot.
was
third
there.
round, when
I was
Korean
there.
Zombie, it was a disgusting fight. It was
Hard to watch.
filthy.
Yep. Yep.
It
Yep. Yep.
was really
I was
hard to
there. I
watch.
was
Even
there
for me,
live.
I'm a fan of Volkanovski. I'm not the biggest fan of Korean Zombie, but I like to watch the guy. But as I was watching that fight, I was like, for fuck's sake, Herb Dean, Herb, as I like to call him, Herb Ding, please stop this shit,
Damn.
right? I
Ivan
was,
with the nicknames
I
here. Damn. You
dog,
got hits for everyone, bro.
dog, dog. I can name you so many more, but Herb Ding, this this cocky motherfucker, Herb Ding,
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
and I'm he is cocky. He is cocky because he never defends when he is wrong. When he's objectively wrong, he never accepts that and he never makes changes. That's the problem with the guy. But
Mm,
that's a whole nother kettle of fish. And so we go on to Volkanovski versus the Korean Zombie after the third round when he already had Korean Zombie beat, right? He goes
yeah.
on to the
And
fourth round
bloodied.
and he walks out and he's like, "Do you really want to do this? You're sure? You're okay?" He asks
Yeah, yeah.
Korean Zombie, "You sure you want to do this?" And
Yeah.
Zombie's not he's not in the state of mind to understand what Volk's saying, but that's the thing. It's like the humbleness of Volkanovski. He
Mm,
always cares for the guy standing cross next to him, and at the same time, he like the guy made a whole he made a children's books for God's sakes. He made
oh.
motivational videos. He published a children's book And so Volk is the guy that I really would want to replicate in my life, and I think everyone should replicate in the sport. And Jorge is not a guy like that because
Okay.
he
Well,
tastes his
we'll give you that.
stardom.
He's not a role model. Okay. Okay.
And
Ivan, that's
so,
true.
right. So, but then let's go to another side of it. Jorge says that he's a gangster. He's this gangster from Florida. He's this
Hmm.
Cuban gangster. He hangs out with your Romero and they go to clubs and they go partying and he can gang
Nah,
anybody in
you
the
are amping it up
streets.
a little
No,
over there, Ivan. You are definitely amping it up, but okay, go on, go on.
right? But that's exactly what he says. That's exactly what like I'm not speaking from my own mind. That's like from interviews, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And so the problem with Jorge, he's not a real gangster, and he's not a real top 15 fighter, and he
Okay.
knows that. The
Well,
problem
you
with
seem to
his
know
with
that,
him
Ivan.
is
Okay, let me see. Let me hear. Why do you
how do I
know
know
he's not a
that?
gangster?
Because real gangsters don't talk about that they're gangsters, man.
Well,
I
That's
that's
a
a
know
clip.
that.
classic.
That's the clip right
That's a
That's
there.
the
classic
That's
move.
thing.
the
Now,
clip.
now,
That's the thing. It's like
here's
Khabib.
here's a
Like
couple
that's the
of
thing.
things about the.
Khabib.
So, what about Khabib?
Let me say one thing. Khabib, not too long ago, in an interview, he was like asked. He was training in the gym, and he was asked. All these people, they call themselves gangsters, like this. This Hamza Chimaev calls himself a gangster. This Nate Diaz calls himself
Sure.
a gangster. All those
Yeah.
people, they call themselves gangsters. And Khabib said, "You don't know gangsters. You haven't seen them because nobody sees them because they don't talk about themselves.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
if you
It's a
see a
classic
gangster,
take.
the
Hmm.
you don't see a light of day no more. If you
Right.
Very
Right.
see a
Right.
Robert De Niro.
gangster, you don't
Very
see a
Robert
light
De
of day no
Niro.
more. That's the thing.
Mm.
Like
At the
that's
end
the
of the
thing.
day,
It's like call
at the end of the day, Ivan, you're right on that. You're right on. You're right. You're partially right on the fact that he's definitely amping it up. He's definitely taking it to the next level with the whole "I'm a gangster." It's more like a street Jesus. I don't think he says "I'm a gangster" all the time, to be honest. But also, I can tell you, if
but
you really
being a
wanna,
street
if you're
Jesus,
gonna keep tally of gangster
don't you
moods,
think that's
no, no,
don't you
hundred
think
percent,
that's too much?
100%. It is like
I
that.
think it made him a lot of money. I
Here's
think it
the
made
thing.
him a
Here's
lot
the
of money.
thing, guys. Here's the thing. I think I
That's
wanted to point
true.
out. If we're gonna keep tally on gangster moves or gangster moments by Jorge Masvidal when compared to anyone else, like how many fighters do you know that were fighting in Kimbo Slice's backyards with guys that were 40, 50 pounds over him
Fair point.
twice or several times? How many guys do you know that went to Leon Edwards, who
Right?
was like talking with his entourage in that fight you mentioned, Darren Till in London, and said, "Oh, what are you saying? Accuse me, I can hear you."
Right?
Boom, boom, boom. Broken nose. How many guys do you
So
know?
sucker punched him
Sucker
pretty
puncher.
much.
He came. You talk shit about me. Well, you may receive a couple, like out of the
No,
blue.
no
Good
open
morning, good
arms,
morning. Boom, it's over for you. And the guy was just there,
but
fresh off
but
the octagon. And last,
that's the
last but
thing,
not least, if I may say, last but not
right?
least, in gangster moves. Again,
Right?
I'm not supporting this. I think those are mistakes. Those are the things I like the least about Jorge Masvidal, no doubt. But since you wanna talk about gangsterism, how many guys went outside of the octagon, outside of the cameras, outside of the lights, came up to Colby Covington and fucked him up, or at least tried to fuck him up, de facto putting
From the
him
back,
on court? Well,
but from the back though.
from the back, we don't know, right? There is no images. That's what Colby says. Masvidal says otherwise. There are different accounts of the fact. The
Okay,
truth is that he's
so
gone to Kurt about
let
it
me
because from the
let me
front,
bring another
Colby
one to you.
Colby has gone there, in real quick, instead of being a gangster and come back at him and fight, square it out,
That
duke it out on the street. He went and to Papi Judge to say, "Oh, he hurt me. Give me half a mil in
that's
charges
being
for."
smart. That's being smart.
Oh, that's being
That's
smart.
big
Yeah,
brain.
but it's not being gangster.
But
So we're
also,
talking about gangsterism here. We're
right,
not talking about the
right,
wits, because Masvidal. Let's face it, Masvidal is not a Harvard law school graduate, right? So what do you want? He's
true,
street smart,
yes.
if anything. If anything,
Okay, but at the same time, to me, somebody who calls themselves a gangster and at the same time is a mixed martial arts fighter
I
in the
agree. On
UFC
that one, I
and at the
agree.
top 15, they're already a very badass motherfucker because they're one of the top 15 people to ever walk the face of the earth right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mhm.
that's the thing. But at the same time, let me name you one guy that deserves the name of the baddest motherfucker at the welterweight division is Rafael dos Anjos. That guy,
Holy shit.
that guy
Okay,
fights anybody,
that's true.
anybody and everybody. He doesn't care, right?
Hmm.
That's a gangster. So then let me name you another one. Vicente Luque. Vicente Luque fights anybody and
Hmm.
everybody, and he
Well,
bangs with every single one of them.
that's true. That's
Let me
no, that's
name
true.
you another one.
That's true, but
There's
it
Kevin
seems
Holland,
now, but we're seeing a pattern here, right, Ivan? Ivan, Ivan Pichugin,
right?
our new guests that we're gonna invite again for sure. You like
Dogs.
and I'm
I,
with
I
you.
want to
You
be
like
on
you
every
like the
single
dogs that are
episode
like
of
here
this.
that talk on the octagon only, and I respect that, Ivan. I respect that
Right?
because
Right?
to a certain extent, I'm like you. I don't like the McGregors. I don't like the Sugar Sean O'Malley's. And with
Right?
Masvidal, I have it a little bit him in my potato because he's Hispanic, because the guy had a tough upbringing,
Absolutely,
and
yes.
the guy brings a lot
That's
of
exactly
flavor
why
to
I
the
brought him
promotion.
up.
But I see your point. I see your point because I agree with you. I'm more like, again, I'm with you 100% in that style of fighter that I like, that I love watching, and that I enjoy as a martial artist. I'm with you on that one. So but there's a pattern there, right? You're talking about guys that are just mad dogs that will fight anyone, anywhere, no questions asked. But
But that's the thing. I
who
think
who is like looking
let's
forward to see Vicente
if
Luque
we
other than
if
us?
we want
You
to
know,
I think if we want to end on Jorge, because that's not the guy that we were supposed to
that's
be
right.
talking
Next week,
about, because
no, 2 weeks, 3 weeks from
yeah,
now.
right. So if we want to end on Jorge, I think that it's just generally bringing up the whole gangster shit into fighting is it's just weird.
Yeah, I
Fighting
think
is
it's
not about
overplayed.
that.
It's overplayed a little bit,
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
think it made him a little bit of
He's
money.
doing it for he's
It
doing
made
it
him
for
a little bit of
casual
money, but
fans,
I
because
think
casual fans that
That's
doesn't
true.
fighting is fighting in
slap
the
fight
street
fans.
and fighting. Yeah, he thinks that fighting in the street and fighting in the cage is for casual fans is the almost the same thing,
The same
which is
thing, right? Yeah.
absolutely not, and
Unfortunately,
I know
that's right.
that very well. So this motherfucker fought
Yeah, yeah.
fought in the street, and I can tell that it's a very very different experience than fighting in the cage, and so
Of course.
um yeah yeah
But anyway,
I can tell you.
Ivan, we've been talking about
Yeah,
we've
yeah,
been talking
yeah.
about this whole thing.
I can
It's
talk about that for
it's
a whole
great.
nother
It's
hour.
great. I
But let's
see
let's
you
go
love
back
picks,
to
man. It's very nice,
Leon
very nice.
Edwards
You just
and
needed a little
Kamaru
pushback here.
Usman, right?
It's okay. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Let's go back to Leon and Kamaru. And if we go back to that fight, first fight, Kamaru did win, but Leon had his moments. Second fight, Kamaru, uh, as we as we examine that fight, Kamaru was winning, but Leon had his moments, and so now once again, it comes back to confidence. It comes back to the home field advantage. It comes back to the fact that now Kamaru knows that he's been knocked out. And Kamaru, even before Leon, he knows that he has been hurt. It's not the case of we got Max Holloway, for example, the guy that has unlimited cardio and he cannot be hurt. You cannot hurt the guy. I mean, you
Hmm.
can hurt him, but you cannot knock him down. Kamaru Usman is not that guy. He has been hurt by
Now we know.
Colby Covington multiple times. He has been hurt even before that. And so
But he
Leon Edwards
overcame,
is a very
Ivan.
capable
Oh yeah,
fighter. Leon Edwards is a very capable fighter. He's a pretty big fighter. He's a big boy, Leon is.
Hmm.
He's not a
a
small
small
guy. He
waist.
can
Very a
exactly.
small waist and a big
He,
back. A lot of
he
strength.
can compete
What's your
with
what's your what's your
Kamaru.
prediction? What's your prediction, Ivan? What's like? How do you think? We always like to
Man,
like
it's
get that
really hard.
prediction.
It's really
God.
You
hard.
get
I
scratch
think
without fear of scratching.
ultimately,
We call it in the show. We do a Spanish show too. Right after this one, we'll start that one in a couple minutes. But um, we say without fear of scratching. Just if
right. So
gun held to your
my
head, like they
ultimate
tell you who's
prediction,
winning.
I think, is going to be that I think Leon Edwards should figure out how Kamaru Usman's defense is way too bad, When he's under pressure, his defense is horrendous, honestly. If you look at the second Colby Covington fight, and even the first one, uh, if he gets pressured, he defends really badly. He's really good with his straight shots, but he's not good with his defense. And so I think that Leon Edwards is going to get the win, and I think it's going to be like a third round knockout, I think.
Damn,
Third
let's
round
go,
knockout.
Ivan. Let's go.
What's
I
your
think
what's your
it's,
prediction,
I
Ale?
think it's going to be that.
My prediction? Fuck. Now,
Mhm.
Ivan is making me hesitant right now. No, all in all, while what I see what Ivan is saying. I definitely
Mhm.
think Leon Edwards has chances. Leon Edwards has the talent, has the ability to pull off a win. Um, if we go for what we got so far, and seeing that Leon Edwards, it's definitely not a finalizer, if you will. He's not a guy that TKO'd or KO'd everyone up to that fight with Kamaru Usman. And the fact that Kamaru Usman, even though the knees are shit, even though he could have a better defense, even though he won't take him down clean like a good wrestler would, I think. Fuck, it's tough. It's tough. I'm like Ivan. Fuck, I don't want to.
It's
I'm like, it's
hard.
tough.
It's
It's tough.
hard,
It's tough
isn't it?
because I can see a deteriorated
Yeah.
version of Kamaru, and Kamaru not being who he was or used to be, like this dominant, super
Mm,
muscle champion that he was
I don't
up
think
to
so.
August last year. So, but anyway, whatever. If I scratch myself, I scratch myself. Fuck it. I think Kamaru's gonna take it. I think
Mhm.
Kamaru is gonna give his all. I think Kamaru he's got really like what 1, 2 more fights left in the tank, and I think he's gonna give his all. I think it's gonna be enough for him to win. I think it's gonna be a dogfight, and because Leon is now the champion, because Leon is at home, because Leon definitely believes in himself now more than ever. But I think in the later rounds, Kamaru is gonna be able to put him down and maybe a TKO
You
stoppage by
think is
the
he going to
ref.
finish him?
I think he's gonna TKO him in the late rounds. Yeah, because also let's not forget
Ah,
Kamaru's cardio, Kamaru's ability to be hurt and keep going. By the same
but
token, you were
Kamaru
mentioning
himself is not a finisher, though.
he's not. He's not. But what I'm saying is that in between the two guys, because it's gonna be a championship fight, it's gonna be a 5 round fight, and it's gonna be a
Right.
dog fight. I don't think
Right.
the fight goes to decision. I mean, it could go. Of course, we could be wrong, but I
Mhm.
think,
I don't know about that.
especially in the later rounds, do you think Kamaru is? Because I have the other take, right? I have a compostured Kamaru. I have a
I
Kamaru that
think
picks his
I,
shots, that is super calculating and
Mhm.
trying to outpoint Leon Edwards because he know he can outpoint him. Leon Edwards when he's aggressive, even though he's a very good striker. I don't know if he's got what it takes to outpoint Kamaru Usman, and Kamaru may play that role. I mean, fuck,
that's a
guys,
bold
you're killing
take,
me here.
dog. That's a bold take, brother.
Yeah, I'll give you my.
I
I'll
think
give you my.
that.
I
Got it.
think
Give us yours.
I'll
Kamaru
give
in
you
the
mine.
late
I'll give you
rounds.
mine.
Kamaru in the fourth
Yeah,
fight.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think the first round is all the information that we're gonna need because we're gonna see a lot of things, and
Scratch.
there's something that I've thought about while we're talking about and having this discussion about UFC 286, and it's that one thing that we haven't taken in consideration is the belt factor. Ale, what do I say when someone gets the belt?
That's right. They
It
get
elevates
they get a
it,
+1
it
automatically.
elevates them,
Mhm.
and it elevates the motivation they bring to the table. It elevates their psychology as an athlete. It validates
Mhm.
them, so it takes them usually to another level. Like when you see Rose Namajunas when she got the belt, when you see Aljamain Sterling, beating Peter Yan after he got the belt. He got it in a very shitty way, but it made him a better athlete. So Leon Edwards could have that belt factor. So we have to say, hey, Kamaru is a great athlete. I love how Kamaru will approach this fight, but Leon Edwards has the belt factor. So it's very difficult. I still think
Yeah,
Kamaru is going to be able to
don't
pull it
you
out,
think
but
that the advantage of the crowd, how the crowd is going to affect
it
the
could be.
guys?
It could be. That's an interesting
I was
fact. I
saying it.
mean,
He's in his home turf.
psychologically,
Mhm.
well,
Because I
it's
think
too
that
it's two sided. I
Volkanovski,
think.
for example, like he had his home crowd for him, and he had
Hmm.
the whole crowd singing Down Under, and I was singing with him. I tell you what, and so
Damn, Ivan.
I definitely
Van
was
boy
right.
for
They coming
Volkan.
for the Lambda.
And
Yeah, I think it's an important
the,
factor. Psychologically, the
yeah,
crowd will play a role. It'll give him energy, and the hooligans are gonna be there in full force.
yeah.
It's gonna be crazy. Um, I think you've added to this podcast that belief in Leon, and I think you shook us up a little bit. In hey,
Wow.
this is
Ivan,
what
look,
Leon,
Ivan. Damn.
and I'm like, hey, yeah, we want to be about it. We want to bring, if you're here in the chat and you're, talking with us, we bring people
I
on,
didn't think you were
and we,
so sure in Tomorrow. That's the
oh
thing.
yeah,
I
yeah,
thought
no,
I
it's
thought you were 50-50 on this one.
you're
Well,
shooting us up with that with the Russian take, and I think it put everything in doubt,
I can do that
and
every
and
week.
it made me
Every
it made
week.
me think it made me think about that belt
uh,
factor whenever
here we go. Here we go. Here we
whenever
go.
whenever whenever you have this in your hand, it changes
Oh.
you as an athlete,
Ooh.
as an
Oh,
athlete.
baby.
The belt.
Oh,
The
It
belt
damn.
is
changes you,
back.
and it creates a better environment around in your gym. It brings more
Oh,
money,
yeah, for
more
sure.
sponsors. It brings so many things, and I hadn't thought about that. And Ivan brought that in here. So I'm not come. I'm a great Kamaru fan,
You're
Trevor Whitman
welcome.
fan, but this is important to talk, and that's the clip, and that's the thing that we have to think about. So we're
So
gonna keep
we
putting
got
up
it.
pot. I'm gonna pick Kamaru by decision. I think he's
Okay.
gonna be able to draw it out,
Okay.
but I might change. I
That's a
might
safe
change
pick.
from now to Saturday. From now to Saturday, I don't know. I gotta see that now. Damn it! I have to see the
Oh,
embedded. Now I
is
have
it
to see.
already this week? Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
sweet
it's
bloody
this week.
baby
Now I have to
Jesus.
Coming
see.
Saturday.
Now I have to see the embeddeds.
Oh,
Now I have to see everything
oh,
because that Russian take, that
oh.
Pishugin take, it changed everything.
Before you leave, Ivan, I want to know what's
Right.
you obviously are a big MMA fan. How
Absolutely, I am.
how is how are you seeing the I want to hear your take on the whole Dagestani reign, the Dagestani I guess
So,
popularity that we see
let
now
me tell you
as the
what.
guys that
So the
have like
whole
the X factor. They're like different than everyone else. They're tougher than everyone else. They can
there's no such thing. There's no such thing as Dagestanis being tougher than any other fighters
you think
because let's just say
it's all just rhetoric, all amping
it's
it up,
no
creating
no no
that
no
profile?
no like the whole thing about it is let me explain you what. So
Tell us.
it's a style. It's a style of grappling
That's right.
that revolves around wrestling against the cage and then getting a single leg and then going down and then working their way up to the back and so on and so forth. It's a whole new style of cage work. It's not
Mm,
just wrestling, it's not just grappling, it's specifically cage work. And that's the thing that Dagestani fighters been working on for, I don't know, 10 years or something like that.
mm,
And so somebody like a Dustin Poirier would not be prepared for that
of
because
course.
one thing he knows, if I get taken down, I go to the cage. I scoot my back to the cage, and so I get up, and so on and so forth. And
That's right.
so many other fighters are doing
Mhm.
that. And then you're seeing other fighters like I don't know, uh, name any other fighter that sounds Dagestani, and I can tell you that they have a Dagestani style that
Makachev,
are coming up from the contender
Mokaev.
series. From the contender series, Muhammad Mokaev is a good example. Yeah, pretty much. And so you saw Charles Johnson that was fighting Muhammad Mokaev, and he was defending takedowns, and he was getting up, and he was defending
Olympic
takedowns,
wrestler,
and
of
he was
course.
getting up, and so
Hmm.
on and so forth. And it works. You can't develop the style against them. Yes, these guys have been wrestling their whole life. They've been
Hmm.
fighting their whole life. They've been
That's right.
fighting in sambo their whole life. That's the way they've been brought up, but they're not superior. They're
Mm.
not superior.
Wow.
It's just that they have a specific style, and you got to work around that style. Piotr Jan is not superior to Ultimate Sterling. We showed that.
Hmm.
Ultimate Sterling is not superior to Piotr Jan, and we can show that in their third fight if Piotr Jan prepares properly, right?
Mm.
It's
I don't know.
it's
I don't
not
know
a
if it's the
thing
best
about
week to talk about Peter Yang. He got pretty messed
Yeah,
up Saturday,
I know. He
Ivan.
got his ass whooped, but like that's the thing. I can talk about that fight for another whole hour. But
Ooh.
like the thing is, these
Did
Dagestani
you Ivan?
fighters,
If I can ask you, did you feel
they're not
offended
specifically
by?
special.
Okay, gotcha. I was gonna say, did you feel, or the Russian people felt offended by Velashvili being a little bit like they're talking about the Russians a little bit, or it's no hard
That's the
feelings
thing.
is fighting.
Russian people are different. We have a whole we have a whole lot of different viewpoints and a whole lot of different mentalities about this whole stuff. For me specifically, to me, what Valashvili said was very good, very
Mm,
poignant. I think what he said is very valuable to the world peace. Honestly,
mm.
I don't want to see war, and no
No one does. Yeah.
sensible Russian person wants to see war,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing is like, and if I am on this podcast, if I am on this platform, I have to say to any viewer that is watching this program right now that no Russian person that is in any way sensible, that has any sort of brain fluid in their fucking noggin, wants to see this shit continue. Nobody wants to. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. It's like what Valashvili said. It was way too political for my
Mm-hmm.
view because to me, mixed martial arts and politics should be very different from one another. Like they
Mm.
should not mix together.
Ah.
And that's another thing. Like remember when Ankalaev fought Blachowicz, right?
Yep.
And they went to a draw. And there comes out Ramzan Kadyrov, and he's talking about how, oh, you judged against our
That's
guy
right.
because
Yeah.
of
Us Russians,
politics
they are
and
against
all
us.
that
Mm-hmm.
shit, which is
I
which is
remember.
complete and utter idiotic bullshit, and everyone knows that because that's not how fights are judged.
Yep.
And
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
that's why when I
They were
see
just pissed
Marab
because it
talking
was a
about this, I'm
weird.
like,
I mean, because that fight wasn't a draw really. But
because the
anyway,
fight
that we
was
would start.
weird. Like it was
That's
a
right.
draw, exactly. Like the decision was not weird. It was weird because the fight was weird,
The
right?
fight was
And
yeah.
so when I see Marab talking about the politics, I'm like, okay, dude, it's cool that you support the people that are being invaded and shit, but just don't do that, dog.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like because
Keep it about
it's not
sports,
the
huh?
place for it.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Keep it in
do it in
sports.
your
Keep it in
Instagram.
sports.
You can do it in your social media, like whatever. But don't do it on a program of the UFC because the UFC doesn't want that. The UFC does not want to
Yeah,
mix in with the politics because
Yeah.
that's right.
if
They want
It hosts
expansion.
if
They
we
were
different.
mix
It
in
business.
with the
hosts.
politics,
It hosts
we're
different
gonna be out of
athletes.
business. We're all gonna be fucked. Like don't
Exactly.
do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Otherwise, on that, I think that his comments were fine. I think that his performance was extraordinary,
Fuck yeah.
extraordinary,
he's
because
Yeah.
that
Forlong.
motherfucker is he is called the machine for a reason, and
Yeah.
I knew that before, but in
Mm.
this fight, I was like, how can you do that? How can you do that many takedowns? How is that even possible?
Yeah,
If
man.
you're
It's
not on
ridiculous.
horse level of EPO, you're
Yeah,
not human,
I mean, we hope
that's
not. He might, but we
right?
hope not.
we don't know,
I
but
don't
he's
think he is.
clean.
I
He's
don't think he
clean. He's
is.
clean
I
so
really
far.
don't think he is. I think he's clean. I think
I
he's
think he's
clean. I
a
think that it's
We
just.
also hope he's clean.
I
Yeah.
think it's just the way he is. I think
Yeah.
it's just the way he is, and that's the way
Freak
he
of nature.
fights. But so, in the end, because I think that we should wrap this up, I believe. And so,
Right. Yes,
I'm
Ivan.
gonna say that once again. Once again, no any sensible Russian wants this shit to continue. As far as politics go, as far as
amen.
Murad Dvalishvili,
Mm.
congrats to him. He did a great job. As far as John Jones, fuck that guy. He is
Oh,
not number
damn.
one pound for pound.
Damn.
He is not the greatest of all time, not in any way, shape, or form.
Holy
Fuck
shit.
that cunt.
Ooh, Firas
I'm gonna say that
Zahabi take
again
here.
and again and again, and you're gonna hear more of that from me. But as far as Piotr Jan goes, he's still one of the best of all time as far as bantamweight goes. almost
A
went
great fighter.
overboard with that,
With 3 straight losses.
right?
Okay, well, we'll talk. We'll talk about this more, Ivan. We need to connect
He's
to the
still
Spanish
one of the
one.
best. He's still one of the best, and he
One of
should
the best.
never, because I see some Russian fans talking about like, oh, he should go away from the UFC. He should go to ACA. He should go there. And this, no, he shouldn't. No, he shouldn't. And
Um,
so I'm
So
gonna end on
give
the
us.
fact that
You gotta give us a
my
sound
final
bite.
prediction.
Mhm.
uh-huh.
Oh,
Shoot
you
it,
want a
shoot it.
soundbite? Okay, okay.
No, we want like
This,
in Russian, like please subscribe to the channel in Russian, like you know.
what's
We
the name
need
of the channel?
uh in the octagon.
No, well, no. The
No,
channel
the
where
the
I
podcast
think
is
it's Octagon
in the
Doctor on YouTube.
Jared, no, don't be
yeah.
confused.
Let's do that.
So
Let's do that.
yeah, so for now we're here just trying to put the show together, Ivan. We just started doing it in English. We've
And
been
I'm
doing
gonna
it for months
promote
in
you
Spanish.
guys with my social media. I'm gonna promote you guys. I'm gonna tell everyone who knows any lick of English out here, which is very few people. But I will. But I will, right?
Your
And
English is
so,
impeccable, by the way, Ivan.
подписывайтесь.
It's remarkable.
Thank you so very much. Подписывайтесь на Octagon Доктора. Слушайте Ярда Васкеза. Слушайте Ян Али.
Yes.
Grande, grande,
Yes.
Ivan. Whoa. Spasiba,
Thank you so
spasiba,
very
Ivan.
much, boys. So
All
very
right,
happy
Dave.
to finally talk to you boys, and I will hope that this is going to continue, at least if not next week, then the next week, and then the next week, and then so on and forever.
Oh
We'll bring
yeah,
you back.
thank you, Ivan, for coming
Thank you.
in the podcast today. We're gonna quickly jump
Big
in
fan.
the Spanish one. We love your takes. This was the Russian take inside en el
It was
octágono
awesome.
here in the Octagon Doctor channel. We love everybody. Peace.